Another shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Another shot is gonna hit you with a mind overloaded, loaded. The ball is always open with no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensories twitching. So never everything we say is just our opinion. But then again, it might be the alcohol talking. It might be the alcohol talking. Let's go.
Welcome to another Shot Podcast, where our opinions might be real, or it could just be the liquor talking. Sit back and enjoy another shot.
What's going on? Welcome to our Wednesday night open bar. Is it our Thirsty Thursday Thoughts and Shots? Monday night bartender. Which one do I go with?
This is Sunday night weekend hangover.
And I haven't even drank at all this weekend. Can you believe that shit? I'm already fucking shit up. Thank God we went back to 18 and older, by the way, folks. So we got a flag for the first time in, I can't remember when. Thank you, Facebook, for so kindly dropping us back down just to straight public and not giving an age restriction. And coincidentally, as soon as they do that, we get a flag saying, oh, content. You ever watch the John Wick movies? What's he say? Rules, consequences. Jesus God almighty. At some point, you got to figure out whose rules are you following? Whose rules are you supposed to follow? Where do we go with that? Who's the boss? Do we have a boss? Do we not have a boss? It's just been a weird week. And, you know, the stuff I've seen on TV, personal stuff, is just like, honestly, if we just sat back and paid attention to what goes on in our little town, we'd have contents for years. And never have the same conversation. And that's feel free.
But that would go against our rules.
What's our rule?
Drama free.
Now, here's a good question. We push and push and push and push. We say no drama. Leave the drama at the door, right? But then we leave the door open for open conversation. You know, we're just as guilty as everybody else of being hypocritical, I guess you could say. Kind of having that double standard, that double-edged sword. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is perfect. That's including us. And this actually, you know, this is some of the stuff I've thought about just this weekend. Shockingly, you know, okay, so you know my nights off. I don't have to get up the next day. I'm not an easy person to go to bed. So I got asked last night, you know, what are the odds I could just talk you into your shower real quick and, you know, we could just lay down? And I'm like, I mean, we can do that, but does it have to be this very second? No, we just had that conversation Wednesday. You know what? Surprised me. I need a top shelf on this one. Just one. And then we'll switch it off. I'll let you go ahead and surprise me, young lady. So naturally, you know, her idea of going to bed early and my idea of going to bed early are two very different things. But I can honestly say that, you know, getting into bed about 1:30 for me, especially on a Saturday, that's pretty fucking early. Thank you, ma'am. Let's see how let's see how good I am. We'll start with the sniff. Ooh, that's stout, whatever it is. All right. I am picking up is that the Jefferson? Not even close. Is that the Buffalo Trace? That pretty much nails it down to one thing. Yes, my Glenlivets, we finally pulled the 12. Uber, love you, buddy. I pulled the trigger on buying the 12-year. And Lou, whenever you do come on here, when you get the opportunity to taste this, this is not a shooter. This, especially this one, you sit at it and enjoy. But no, I lay down and naturally, what do you think happened? Do you think I went right to sleep? No. I even had one of KD's books sitting right beside me, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to read this bad boy. Get it out of the way. And then, you know what stopped me? I'm like, maybe I should message him, or is he working? Is it too late? Oh, he works midnights. Oh, wait, what time is it? Where he's at? He might be in bed right now. Which one goes first? I can't remember for the life of me. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do, okay, I thought so. So I was right. I laid there, and I thought, I'm going to read. Hell no. I'm going to look some stuff up. So naturally, I go on my phone, started looking up, you know, and as always, it's going to be for what's in here. There's also looking up more people to get in touch with. And I keep trying to push myself closer and closer to doing what I say we're going to do, and we never do. Oh, you didn't like that one either. See, now I could have took offense the other day when you said, I'll give you Tuesday. See how easy it is, word? And this is why I hate trying to have conversations with people through text. You ever gotten a message from somebody saying, what the fuck does that mean? What are you trying to say? They give me attitude. Or how many times have I said, man, you could just taste the venom coming off that message? And then the other person will be like, I never meant it like that. Communication breaks down. I know, I got you. I would make a statement like that right when you get a mouthful of food, folks. We'll cut that joke off to the side. I'm gonna have to do this one again some other time, but yes, ma'am.
In clarification of my I'll give you Tuesdays, you told me to pick Tuesday or Friday.
She's not wrong.
So,
I didn't say Tuesday or Friday. I said we need to pick another day.
and those were the 2 days.
There's safer days because we have stuff we do Saturdays. I mean Saturdays.
So I told you I will give you Tuesdays. That's me giving up my Tuesday at home. So that's me giving you this, my Tuesdays.
Your presence, sweetie. It was there was a little bit of a kick at first. I'm like, wait, and I knew you didn't mean it like that. Did I get a little salty at first? Yeah, I did. But I'm like, you know what? That's why I brought up conversation, the way things are said. Just like you just looked at me when I said the things I said we're going to do, and you went. Albeit, I did not mean what I say goes. Again, communication, conversation. Something that, I mean, it's fallen flat anymore. I don't think people really know how to talk, and I don't believe everybody, and I'm notorious for it at times too. Like, I mean, I get very passionate. Very passionate. No, Kurt, not like you. Oh, when I'm passionate about a movie, I'm going to yell about it all the time. No, that's not passion. That's obnoxious. Let me clarify with an example. Kurt, who you got to meet that one time, is notorious for yelling at people, but not exactly yelling at them. Does that make sense? An even better example. They were, we get a request for Michael Knight's Whiskey Drinking. It's a line dance. And he said, Michael Knight, that was one of my favorite shows, and him and somebody else got to talking about it. Yeah, he drove a whatever. Yeah, I can see it, but I can't remember. And I was literally just talking to Dan about it the other day. That was and still is today one of his favorite shows, the original 1980s Knight Rider. So Kurt thought the one day, we were DJing again, same person comes over and he goes, Michael Knight drives a Knight Rider. And I'm like, dude, you really have to, well, I'm passionate about it. I'm like, that's not passion. That's obnoxious. I am one for letting my emotions get the better of me. And a lot of times, I realized this the last time me and my better half got into this. I wasn't even mad at her. I was mad at myself. When I start to feel like I'm letting everybody down, like I'm not being taken serious, when I'm, let's just go. Let's really dumb it down. Less than best. I tend to take that personally. So a conversation with me at that point really can turn sideways. But in my opinion, when you're having a conversation with somebody, and especially if it's getting heated, one of the worst things you could do, and trust me, I work with a bunch of people that do this, is go high school with it. I.e., dude, here's the proof that you're wrong. Yeah, well, you're still stupid. If you don't, I mean, if you're on the tail end of it, sometimes it's best just to kind of back up a little bit. Maybe, don't always think you're right. Sometimes you have to kind of back down a little bit and think, okay, maybe the other person's right. But then again, here's where it gets fun. Conversations aren't always about who's right, who's wrong. Sometimes you can just have, a fun conversation about what's your favorite movie? Why? Okay. What's your favorite song? Who's your favorite musician? What's your favorite color? Why? Why do you have such a problem with the cold when I can sit over here almost in a muscle shirt and be perfectly happy? Is there really a right or wrong? And this is why we don't talk politics. Truth be told, in politics, there's no right or wrong, folks. There's no one side's better than the other. It all comes down to your opinion of it. So let's twist it around again.
So we're pretty much contradicting ourselves all in the beginning as well, because we say on this show our catchline is everything is just our opinion.
Okay. That's just letting people know that we're not saying we're right, we're not saying we're wrong. We're saying everything we say is just our opinion. So you can take it as you is. It's not a contradiction. That's just from the very beginning. Hey, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna give it to the best of our opinion, as we know it to be, and that's all our opinion is. It's a response as you know it to be, as you believe it to be.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Kit.
You looked it up.
Kit. I knew that one.
Well, I knew it was Kit. Yeah.
1982 Pontiac Transient.
Okay. Thank you.
Pontiac Firebird Transient.
Oh, boy, that whole conversation is starting to like bring on
But
the PTSD.
later introduced Kit 2, which was a 2008 Ford Mustang GT 500KR.
See, now you're talking about heartstrings because I'm Ford. I love the Mustang. I'm not the biggest car guy in the world. I know what I have specific cars I like, and I'm slowly, gaining knowledge enough to know. Okay, so this car I like might be a piece of shit, or there's a good reason why I ended up liking this car. Something along those lines. So no, we're not contradicting ourselves. We, from the get-go, will always tell everybody that we're not always right. We're just going to give our opinion. Now, in giving my opinion, am I going to try and back it as best I can with facts? Always. And what I don't know, we always fact check. But then again, like the old saying goes, do you believe everything you see on the internet? Wikipedia, you can go in there and, I can go into Jim Morrison and say, you know what, Jim Morrison really, he didn't die. And I could pull up some crazy book, conspiracy book that shows, Jim Morrison and Tupac and Biggie are still alive, and this is how they know. I base a lot of my opinion on experience. But I'm also the first one to say, just because it worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Just because it worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me. You know what that word work means, right, Captain Kid? Come on with it. I have to take my shot. When do I not? And there's another good reason right there, folks, why this is another good reason why conversation falls flat. People are too easily triggered nowadays. You can crack it up a little bit. Go over dramatic. Here we go. Here, I'm going to do my best Vanderlei Silva. I'm getting ready to rumble. Before the end of the night, she's going to have a drink in her hand. I promise you. Obviously, I'm feeling a lot better. I don't know what the hell that was. The only thing we could come up with was that had to have been that 24-hour bug. And trust me, even when I went back to work on Saturday, I was still wasn't wanting to drink any coffee. I still wasn't. I mean, that was fine. But that's the reason. Well, maybe it is a good idea if I don't stay up till the crack of dawn and get some sleep. Got myself caught up today. Ate 3 square meals for the first time in ever. Sat down, enjoyed my football. Congratulations, Bills. Right now, I think Philly and San Fran are in a shootout with each other, last I looked. You got a score update by any chance? I know you got a mouthful again.
13-10 Eagles.
We know somebody in particular right now is already like they're not 3 sheets. They're the whole bedroom suit to the wind. There's some of the other reasons why you think that conversation falls. How about when people, they hear something and you end up saying what they're thinking, but they don't want to admit it? I've run across that too. We have a lot of whimsical fun on here. We laugh, we joke with people, we have a good time. But one of the things the show even falls flat on is good conversation every now and then. Like good, solid discussion is a good way to put it. The conversation's always good. Let's go that way. But the discussions, it's not as often as we'd like. At least it's not as often as I'd like. See, me, I still, even, I'm going to be 46 2 Mondays from now. I'm still a student. I still love to learn. Hell, just in the past, 4 or 5 months, how many books have we bought? We got a sci-fi book, 2 smart books, and I turned around and bought The Wolf of Wall Street, which is a biography, or I guess technically a memoir. Plus, I turned around and bought one of his books. This is how you succeed. From a man that went to prison for basically scamming people. And yet he still has best-selling books, How to Succeed. I did find out another little fact about Jordan Belfort. Do you know that there's still companies that ask his advice? Why is that? What's your opinion on that? Why would you want to buy a book or listen to a man that went to prison for scamming people out of money?
He obviously has the knowledge how to do things properly. He just chose to do it improperly.
The man could sell anything to anybody. He has the gift of gab. He has a business sense.
And he figured out how to cut corners so he didn't have to work as hard. Work smarter, not harder.
No, that's definitely one way to look at it. You think the people that end up buying those junk bonds, those penny stocks that really were worth shit, but he built them up to be something a lot more. Of course, bear in mind, that's not just the only thing he got in trouble for.
But then again, anybody that's looking to get rich quick that doesn't do their research and they listen to one person, that's not, it's not ideal.
But when you're comfortable with that person you're talking to, you almost want to just go ahead and take their advice.
But no, that goes back to the same way with like, okay, so my child is sick and the doctor tells me it's this. The doctor has all the education behind them.
Okay.
Has years of experience and treated multiple different children. But my child is mine.
Right.
So, okay, I'll go with your diagnosis, but I'm going to continue to research into that diagnosis. And I'm going to look at every possibility of what else could cause the symptoms than just this diagnosis. And I'm going to acknowledge everything that I possibly can to make sure that I'm comfortable with that diagnosis.
And there's nothing wrong at all. There really isn't. Other than
Go to a car dealer. Go to a car dealer. could be one of your best friends you grew up with. They're not going to steer you in the wrong direction. And they're telling you that this 2025 Explorer has everything that you possibly need or want.
Salesman.
But you really, really like the 2012 Explorer.
Okay.
So they have one of each. Are you going to listen to his pros and cons, or are you going to listen to your pros?
Honestly, at that point, you kind of have to do both. But here's the thing: these doctors have also seen this before. So they're also going on not just what they've seen in a book, which we can all look up WebMD. All of us can go to Barnes and Noble, or for all of us that are too lazy to go to Barnes and Noble anymore,
Whether
we can get
those
on.
12 children have had the same exact this and the same exact that, those 12 children don't have the genes that my son has.
See, now we're splitting hairs. And as a mom, you're going to do that.
But I do that with my everyday life.
You can't always split hairs down to the finest.
I'm going
To
to
the
look.
cone.
I'm going to look at every scenario with my own pros and cons because I am my own unique person.
Okay.
And whether my pros and cons are maybe your pros and cons exactly to the T, it comes down to my personal preference.
When it comes to certain things, that's fine and dandy.
Mhm.
But when you're going against somebody that not only has school for how many years, and then also have to deal with that particular scenario multiple times, you kind of got to go with the experience over what you read or what your gut instinct is. Now, does that mean your gut instinct's going to be wrong? No. Fuck no. And I'll tell you why. Broke my ankle. I knew it was broke. I could see it. But the x-ray tech and the doctor that looked at it in the emergency room went, it's just sprained. I went home, had a CT scan done on it. Turns out that line I was showing them was the through and through break. Am I a doctor? Fuck no. But like I said, that doesn't mean you're always going to be wrong, but you got to take the ego out of it sometimes.
I completely understand that. And it's not ego that drives me. It's making sure that I have all of the information that I can possibly have in order to move forward.
So in this sense, why, okay, I'm not 100% sold on yours. Why wouldn't you go to a different doctor? Somebody who's might have seen the same thing, but maybe this doctor, because where we not heard this story before, no two doctors are ever going to agree. So you would go to another one who says, okay, I'm with him. I've seen this, but I've also seen this. So instead of sitting
I
down
have
going,
no problem, and I understand going to a different doctor, and yes, that's what we've done. But before I go to that second doctor, I'm going to make sure I have all the information that I possibly can have. And that right there is my exact reason.
show it.
Because I looked at the MRIs. I'm not a radiologist. I'm not a doctor. But I clearly could see there was a problem. And when I spoke to all 8 doctors that we saw, And I specifically said, wouldn't this be what's causing the problem? But then the doctor that finally did something, the eighth doctor finally did something, told me, no, this wasn't the problem. This is the problem. So I went against my gut and went with that doctor. Let me see how I can say this properly and politely.
No, you say
The doctor dropped the ball. Okay. He messed up completely. And because of his mess up, now my husband is handicapped for the rest of his life and will have to struggle. Again, I don't have MD after my name. I'm not a radiologist. I don't know. But because I don't have MD or radiology, any of those different titles, I was completely brushed off because I don't have the knowledge. But when I can sit there and have a conversation with the doctor and not have to tell them in layman's terms, I can understand all of their medical technology terms. And I can keep up with a perfectly normal conversation and ask questions in their terminology, not layman's terms. Should show I have some sort of knowledge. When we went through the first surgery and everything was going good, then the infection and all of this kind of stuff. But because that infection, no other doctor wanted to touch him. But the whole reason why we started going to these 8 different doctors was still the problem. The surgery didn't fix the problem. So we finally go to another doctor, and because that infection, he doesn't want to touch him. Okay, you're going to have to go this route because there's nothing more we can do. You just need to do this. So we added 10th doctor to the whole slew. And when he looked at the MRIs and he says, well, why don't we fix this first? And that was the original thing that I had originally said, isn't that what's causing the problem? So I specifically asked that doctor, in your opinion, is that what is causing him to have this problem, this problem, this problem? He said, for sure. I said, would all of these problems be just because of this, this, and this, which is what the first doctor fixed? He said, no. That would have agitated, but it wouldn't have caused these problems. These problems are all from this.
And you said something that I've had experience with, and I never understand why any doctor with the MD in his title would tell somebody, I do not want to touch that. Dude, you took a note.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you need to, if you're not going to do it, then you need to at least recommend somebody that specializes in it or something along those lines.
He did. He sent us to this other doctor to get a pain pump because there was nothing anybody else could do because the first doctor messed up. And because of the infection, he'll have this infection the rest of his life. He's on antibiotics the rest of his life. The infection doesn't go away. It just goes dormant. So as soon as somebody else opens him back up, that infection comes right there. So no doctor wants to touch him because who's to say they're not going to catch it soon enough and I'm going to lose my husband because of this infection. They don't want the malpractice problems.
You're trying to save a person. Here's the other fun thing. There's the flip side to that. And you know me, I'm always the glass half full, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they take that chance and it fixes it?
That's what this last doctor did. He took the chance. My husband is able to walk again. He's able to stand on his feet longer than 3 minutes.
Except in the winter, Blue.
Well, no, but it's not for the reason why he can't stand now isn't the same reason why he couldn't stand then.
Understood. I know.
It has changed the scenario. The scenario now is it's not his back causing him to lose his legs. It's not his back giving him issues. It's the hip, and the percentages that doctor told us just wasn't worth us taking the chance of having the surgeries.
Would you agree that most hospitals, doctors' offices, more hospitals, let's go ahead and leave it at that, they're run more like a business anymore as opposed to a place to help people?
Yes. Doctors' offices are just as bad. Their turnover ratio for people that are working in them is getting worse. If you go into a hospital now, you don't actually see your doctor. Your doctor might have privileges at the hospital, but you don't see your doctor. You see a hospitalist. Well, when I get admitted to the hospital, obviously I'm sick. I want my doctor that knows everything there is to know about me. My doctor that has been there with me, not somebody that's just reading a piece of paper and say, okay, well, this is your issue. I'm not an open and shut book.
I fell under a lucky star when I found the doctor for my shoulder. Honestly, out of all the doctors I've had, he was one that literally, all right, we're gonna exhaust every other possibility before surgery. Because I kept telling him I didn't want to have surgery. All right, so are you comfortable with trying PT? Yeah, let's try PT. Is it something that could, and I even asked him every time, is it something that could possibly heal back? There's always a possibility. He said, and strengthening the muscles around it, doing PT, lessening your work, there are certain guidelines. He spelled it out. He never sugarcoated it. Not once did he ever sugarcoat it. But even after the surgeries, he would leave the option up to me. He's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, this is, I'm going to say, this is what I feel you need to keep doing. But if you feel like you need to go back to work, if you feel like, you can do this, all I can do is tell you that's probably not going to work for you.
Another thing, and I know we usually keep a good portion of this stuff out of our shows, but I'm putting it in there just a little bit. So around here, obviously, this is where we live. So these are the hospitals that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my parents live in Florida. I am number 2 for my mother. Anything happens with her, my dad and I are the ones that have all the signing, all the taking care of, all the work, everything. So when something major for my mom goes on, I'm in Florida. I'm meeting the doctors. I'm finding out what, getting all the information. I'm organizing all of this, taking care of all this. So when my mom had her first major surgery down there, and I went down and I met this doctor. And I'm talking to this doctor, and the doctor was blown away with the amount of knowledge. Again, I look into not just the pros and cons, but I look at all the different, this, that, as much knowledge as I possibly can. One, so that way I can understand the doctors when they're talking to me and they don't have to put it in layman's terms.
Right.
Because sometimes information is lost when they have to dumb it down. So, but I want to be able to ask the proper questions. And if I don't know something and I haven't been able to research it and find out something, then I talk to all of my friends or all of my family members that have medical knowledge, medical training. And I have, Stephen and I both have medical training, medical knowledge, as well as a portion of our families on both sides have the knowledge. Talking to the doctor, and he was actually blown away with as much knowledge as that I had. So I was asking him questions that most people don't. And he literally looked at me and he says, Are you a doctor? No, sir. He congratulated me because I had as much knowledge that he had. No, I didn't have the experience, but I had the knowledge. And for someone who doesn't have the degree, that's unheard of. So when he walked me through everything, and I had all my different questions, we got through everything.
Keep up.
Yes. We go in for the day of her surgery. And I'm back in the pre-op section with her, waiting for her to be taken back. And she introduced me to every single person, all the doctors that come in, the anesthesiologist, the this, the that, the nurses, everybody is obviously her daughter. You know, I'm her secondary caretaker. I'm the one that takes care of her when she comes home from any kind of thing. And when they literally all, one person at a time comes in, talks to you, puts over this, you sign this paper for this, and you sign this paper for that. Then they all disperse, and then a team of nurses come in, orderlies, whatever, and they wheel you down to the OR. That isn't what happened down there. The entire team came into the room. The anesthesiologist and all of his crew, the doctor and all of the nurses, the OR techs, this, and everybody came into her little room, introduced them, and I could not tell you every single person's name, but they introduced all themselves to me. And before they left that room, they all joined hands and said a prayer over my mother. When the doctor himself unlatched my mom's gurney and took her, and then his head nurse that's supposed to be with him took my hand and walked me out. Then I found out when she got to the OR, they did it all again. They stopped everything they were doing, did a circle around her, and did a prayer. Not just over them and their machines, but over her. That was more peace than I've ever felt with any doctor. Then visiting the next day, I get there first thing in the morning as soon as visiting hours start and everything else. Literally over the loudspeaker in the entire hospital, they said a prayer. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I'll just say no. Unless it's one of those, St. Francis medical, something that's very.
It was not a Catholic hospital. It wasn't a Christian. It's the main Advent Health is where it is. But not only did they do it first thing in the morning, a shift change in the afternoon, they said another one for the ones leaving for the day and the ones coming in for the day. And then again, at the end of the night, like 8 o'clock, it was before visiting hours were over, before patients were going to bed, so that way they're not keeping them up by doing this over the loudspeaker. It gave you a sense of peace.
Right.
To see that and see how everybody sits there and argues to take God out of this and to take God out of that. You're not even allowed to say it in so many different places. But to see that, it was eye-opening and refreshing. But then to come back home and be stuck with taking one of my children to our local hospital, and not only do they not say anything about that kind of stuff, they completely give you the runaround. And they, no matter how much knowledge you have, they just kind of blow you off when you sit there and say, okay, so this is what's going on, having this problem, this problem, and this problem. And they tell you, okay, well, this is what they're going to do. And you suggest something else. They talk down to you because, again, I don't have that degree. It's just not.
When somebody sets a bar, when you go to some place, or if it's somebody, or whatever the entity sets a bar so much higher than what you're used to. I hate to use this reference, but it's kind of like watching, reading a book then watching a movie.
Yeah.
Or the first one set the bar so high that when you see the sequel, that's for the people watching to kind of.
I don't understand why. And I understand you spent the money and you spent the time and the amount of time and the amount of money to get those initials after your name and to be able to have that massive paycheck. But that still doesn't make you any better than I am. It doesn't give you the right to talk down to me. I might have just as much knowledge, if not maybe more. I just didn't spend the money and take the time to
I'm listening.
go after those initials.
That's the reason I said.
I
was really trying hard.
I don't understand why. Okay, so you work in a garage. And every person in that garage has had the same exact training.
And yet you're still going to have everybody saying, no, that person doesn't do it right. They don't do it right. I know, I've been doing this. And this person.
Why is it that each individual can sit there and I've gone through the same exact training. I've done the same exact thing. I've been there for so many years. I've done this, I've done that. But they're better than in their brain, they're better than the other person. I don't.
When we figure that one out, we're going to make this world a better place. Starting one step.
We were all created equal. It doesn't matter whether I have 2 pennies in my bank account or whether I have 10 million pennies in my bank account. I'm still the same person. And I'm going to do my life the same way if I have those 10 pennies or whether I have those 10 million pennies. I know of 4 different people that I went to school with, at least 4 that I went to school with. Literally grew up right beside me.
Just saying, right, buddy?
They didn't have any more money than I did growing up. I knew what the incomes were. For Christmas or birthdays or this or that, my mom used to love the fact that I was just thrilled, absolutely thrilled. She could go to Walmart and get me 4 pairs of new shoes for Christmas or for my birthday or for the beginning of school, the school shopping thing. And I would be happy with those 4 pairs. $20. Got me 4 pairs of shoes. I was excited. My brother, on the other hand, yes, we understand. We understand.
Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. I think all of us have come full circle on that one.
And my brother, on the other hand, was one of those ones that had to have that name brand.
Mm,
He had to have that name to go with it. So what she could spend on 12 pairs of shoes for me, she had to spend on one pair of shoes for him. So it shows you the difference between the people, but the same amount of income. So I have 12 pairs of shoes. I can get through my entire school year. You take care of what you have and it lasts. You get that one pair of shoes because you're paying for the name,
right.
not the quality or the quantity, but you're paying for the name. Some way, yes, it's quantity or quality, quality. But if I can make 12 pairs of shoes last me, gives me a different color or different style, you're stuck with the same shoe that's not going to last as long because you had to spend the extra money to have that one pair.
Only that were true today.
You
The only reason I say that is because, well, that's another conversation.
I just, it's to each his own. I understand, you know, I've never been, heck, it was last year. I say it was last year, maybe the year before. I had my very first ever owned major name brand pair of jeans that weren't Walmart bought. They were still hand me down. I was 45 years old before I had my first official major name brand.
Oh, so on that note, though, I think it's kind of it goes along with the conversation. You think maybe buying that name brand because you know it's so well known that it's out there, maybe it's not just because you think it's going to be the best of quality, but you know, it kind of makes you feel good that you were able to, you know, whether it be a hand-me-down or, you know, because whether you
I was 12 in my head having that pair of jeans.
exactly now that's
12 in my head, it was just like, oh my gosh, I actually own a pair of these.
at least okay. But then there was like, you know, Mom, love you to death. I'll never forget. She would say, but it's this brand, but it's this brand. It's like, so a good case in point, there was a pair of Nike shoes. I'm like, and she's like, oh, but they're Nike. They're Nike. They were sky blue. And they were this weird material. Like they were literally the throwaway. Will Smith, good job on the song. Parents just don't understand on that one. But no, I mean, like me, you know, I didn't care to go to Walmart. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm always going to pay Levi's. I think these things are comfortable. I love these. And so I went to one of Connor's wrestling matches one time, and I'm like, all right, kid, let's go to work. So we went to the room, the wrestling room. I'm like, this is where you're messing up. I no sooner knelt down and went into a shot, ripped right up the inseam all the way up to the crotch. And I'm in a high school. Didn't happen not once, not twice, 3 different times. I've quit wearing Levi's since because they are not the same. And that's where I was kind of going. I'm like, you know, the name brands are still good, but once they, you know, I hate to say it this way, once they hit the Walmart status, yeah, they're not. I don't always have to 100% have a name brand, but
I have 3 pairs of jeans, my Walmart jeans, that have outlasted my name brand through and through.
see, and my thought though is like, you know, I'll still shop at Walmart. Don't get me wrong. I'll go and I'll buy Wranglers all day long for work. because no, they're still not cheap.
No, they're not. But
But at the end of the day, like, I'm a big fan of yeah, I'm thinking about it. Lucky Brand. You can see them at the outlets. I absolutely love the store. It's a little higher end, but those, even in here, the jeans and the stuff I wear are not, the name brand stuff. They're the stuff that have stood the test of time. I don't give a shit at that point. But I will wear like the name brand when I'm out and about because I'm comfortable. I feel good, and I kind of portray that confidence through what I wear and so on and so forth. And that's not everything, okay? That's vanity. You know, if anybody knows anything about me, I do not lack confidence in a lot of things. But that's for my own self. It makes me feel good. You know what I mean? So I think that's why a lot of people, and there's a lot of women that are not above going to, I'm not making a gender difference, but you'll see more women wanting to go to like the thrift shops because that's cute. That's something that used to be more, oh, I can still make that work. You know what I mean? Because my better half is that way. My daughter is that way. As long as it's cute, it'll work. I don't know. Maybe guys are just.
I'm not about cute. I've gotten to that age. I'm not about cute. I won't buy something because it's cute. It has to be comfortable.
That's where I'm at.
It has to be warm.
Turn the heat up if you need to, sweetness.
It has to be comfortable. It has to be warm. The cute comes into the end. But when it comes down to it is, am I going to spend $20 on this because it is comfortable and it is warm and it is cute? Or am I going to go over here and get 4 of these that are more practical for the same price as I would buy one of them? That's where I
got to. I'm going to call you on just one thing. I have never once, as many times we've hung out together, maybe the club, 3 layers sitting in a 70-degree top.
Actually, it was 4 layers, but okay.
Close enough.
And my robe and my beanie.
I've never seen you out and about in just a pair of sweatpants and sweatshirt, and except for, like I said, on occasion, the club, because you're comfortable. We're all friends. The club, we're all family. I mean, that's the next step from being in here.
Because there's a difference between
when we go the 17th, you're not going to be dressed to the hilt.
I don't even know if I'm going to 17th, but okay.
What happened? I'm in kind of the same boat. We were going to talk after before we do next. Damn, sounds familiar. Deja vu all over again. No.
You would have known me years ago. Years ago. Before this got on as less wobbly as it is now. You would see me at Sheetz or at Walmart, County Market, anywhere in my jammies because I just didn't care.
And that's the problem. I've never liked that. That to me is just,
But my jammies consist literally of like I've worn them in here before. Yes, Blue, you wear sweatpants everywhere, but it's not just a comfort thing with you, though. It's a
commodity. It's a need.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever see that man in jeans.
I have pictures.
Okay, so pictures is one thing.
My thing was the fleece, yeah, kind of like what I saw you in the other day when I knocked on the door to give you the suit. Your flannel jammy bottoms and your shirt. What's different? You know what I mean? So that's
I was home. I was home. I wasn't going anywhere. If I was going somewhere, just dude, even doing this. I mean, I could easily just throw on a quick shirt and, like Sarah said, just throw on your Crocs and a hat and you're good to go. I can't. I still gotta. To me, I'm still out. I still need to portray.
yeah. So
That I give a shit.
This is my point. So nowadays, I can't do that. I can't just run to the store in my jammies. I can't just, and part of that is your fault. Part of this is your fault.
Now you got me intrigued.
Because I represent more than just myself.
Even though you're behind the camera, and we would love to have you on camera.
But when I'm out and about and I'm talking to people, you're not going to want to listen to a podcast or about a business plan or about this or about that from someone standing there in flannel pajama bottoms and so no, I have to be presentable. I have to feel comfortable. I still try to be comfortable, but be presentable at the same time, even when I'm behind the camera over here. And some things in my wardrobe are not in my wheelhouse. There's not something normally that I would ever wear, but I have to go outside. My colors, you look in my wardrobe, my colors are black, navy, dark this, dark that.
Same way, sweetness.
Those are my colors because that's where in my opinion, black is very slimming, very sleek, very, but that's also where, what's the word? Mentally, that's the okay. I'm not comfortable with the bright this or the bright that. I try to step out of my comfort zone occasionally. And then we have wonderful, loving business partners that like to nag us about bright and colorful. So then you start questioning the bright and colorful things.
Okay, how do I? Let's cover that before we wrap this one up.
Same exact shirt as I had on the other night.
Okay.
Same exact flannel. That's a different color. It's comfortable. It's warm.
I took that whole thing. You ever watch
You should see my bright pink velour outfit. I think I've worn it here before. That my daughter bought me for Christmas last year.
I was watching a
I've
very
worn it out and about.
I was watching a very well-known motivational speaker. I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. And he was talking to a gentleman who had already messaged him to say, I'm thinking about killing myself. First thing he did goes, why are you unhappy? The man just kind of looked at him. He says, and he looked at him and he goes, is it the shoes? The guy goes, what? And he goes, is it the red shoes? And then the camera pans down, shows this dude's shoes. And it goes back to the guy and he goes, because he's I was like, oh. And he goes, are you sure? Because they're really fucking red. The guy couldn't help himself. He smiled. He goes, don't smile because you're going to fuck this whole thing up now. And he did it all for a reason. It wasn't he was busting on this guy. I never would intentionally shame somebody. No. But when I saw something like that, especially in this light, That thing glowed beautiful.
Wait till I wear that other outfit.
Between that light
Literally,
and that
you'll see me
color,
coming a mile away.
and then that, and I've gotten the same response from people when I would come home from work and I'm wearing my high vis, my highlighter marker yellow shirt.
Which happens to be one of my children's favorite colors. So a good portion of his wardrobe is that color.
High vis. I had to wear it. Wasn't uncommon to see me at Walmart, like filling up for gas or getting Zen or whatever. And 6'9" was notorious for it. He goes, dude, you can see you all day. But I don't.
Again, you've seen me out and about. I had on when we were at Biker Brew House for the Southern Outlaws. We were out in public, but I still had a flannel on that day. But can you tell me what the color of that flannel was?
I cannot tell you for the life of me.
Black and white.
Sarah likes to wear flannel. I'm gonna have see.
It's warm and it's comfy, and I'm sorry, I am a hick girl. I am a hillbilly hick girl. I love country. I love, if I could have that fireplace and just stay in my house I would be comfortable. The older I get, the more and more I don't like people.
And yet here you are doing a
Completely in the
show.
wrong
100%.
business. Completely in the wrong business for not liking
We are about people.
So instead of going to my old ways of doing things this way or this way or this way, I'm trying to broaden myself, and I will step out of that comfort zone occasionally.
So the only thing I ever knew of you, remember when we all met, you weren't coming here. Lou wasn't coming here. You guys did everything from the computer. We saw it on the other side. What is going on, brother? And honestly, you told me from day one you weren't a big people person, but yet you still took on this. We offered you the role and you took it on. And
It was here.
I've watched you.
It was here.
But the thing of it is, I've watched you blossom. And when we did the Corey cruise,
And what color was I wearing that day?
you were wearing clothes. You were wearing red and black, honestly.
All black.
I think you were wearing red and black. I'm pretty sure I can look it back
All
up.
black.
Pictures.
All black.
But yes,
Everybody kept asking me why, because I was so stinking hot. Black, black, black.
you were going around, you were talking to the people, you were setting it up, and not only were we DJing, we were interviewing. So, we literally were double banging at that, I'm so used to saying, like, hey, this car's coming in, it's a four bagger. So when I say double banging, Wild Weekend, where the hell were you about an hour ago to let us know how this weekend went? You actually popped on. Oh, yeah, you were on.
So
Continue. Say it.
it takes a very big amount of strength for me to be able to do things like that.
People used what's going on at 7:30.
Yeah, sorry guys, we went on early tonight. So do you notice at the beginning of October, the last 2 years, the beginning of October, I start getting a little more talkative?
Okay, I can see it.
Because come November, when I'm at my mother's, I don't have a choice. If you ask my mom when you see me at her house, I'm quiet. She sits there and constantly is like agitated with me because I don't respond and I don't talk. But that's because my days are filled with talking to other people when we're at the fair. I have to be that personable that,
You have to turn on the salesman.
it's not just turn on the salesman. It's finding that inner strength. Because again, I would just prefer to just sit in my little chair at home and just be quiet and me and not have to deal with people.
Okay, so on that note, guess what? Since you've taken that lead, look at the people you've got to meet. Look at the stuff we've done.
Yeah.
You went outside your comfort zone, and it's been, I'd say, pretty fucking rewarding. We've made a lot of new friends. We've done a lot of stuff. We're getting invited to go to places now. Streaming a, bar over in Ohio. Pretty soon doing a stream right across the street.
This week I had to get out my jammies more.
Oh, boo-hoo. God forbid, right? You tried your damnedest right there to put a negative, and you knew there wasn't a negative on it.
I love the people that we've met.
Arliss, did you hear this? She's complaining because when we go to your shows, she has to get out of your PJs. You heard it firsthand. He's going to tell you flat out, you don't have to get out of your PJs. He'd be the first one to tell you that. See, like I said, and you actually just kind of helped me push a point. It was one of my last shots. If you don't take those chances, if you don't take those risks, if you don't step outside of your comfort zone, you're never going to know.
I'm out of my comfort zone 90% of the time.
Oh, God. Anytime you step outside and it's chilly, oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
You're not outside of your comfort zone. You would be... and that's one of the good things we can say about this show. You were like one step away from being a true introvert.
Yep.
If it wasn't for this,
but I can't. That's the problem, Arliss. I can't.
that also goes back to finding that happy medium. You wear the flannels, right? You still, even though you're trying to, quote unquote, represent.
I still if you've noticed, there's a difference of what I wear here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference of what I wear at my house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference of what I wear when we are on the road.
It's an appropriate time for everything. You see me in my comfies. Hell, at one point you saw me in more than my comfies. I was very comfortable that night. Yes, Arliss, she has seen my naked ass. I did not know she was in the kitchen. And I decided I was going to just, boom. I was going upstairs and get my shower. I come around the corner, it's like, and you saw the look on my face here, the shock. I'm like, oh, hey, okay. And I said, you know what? Too late. Boom. And went to the door. Or went up the steps.
Or like fell up the steps. But anyway.
Oh, that was a rough night, too. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, you actually just kind of strengthened my last shot from the other night.
Yeah.
You have to break the comfort zone. You'll find that happy medium. You can.
The other night when we were on our other show, somebody, and I don't know who it was, I think it might have been Stephen, but I'm not sure, sent me personally a tip because I wasn't in studio with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a tip. I got a penny Well, now because somebody had sent me, now that platform wants me to go live.
Oh yeah, trust me. When you should have
Look, I'm
recognized
live
that
all
when we
the
first went live.
I'm live all the time. I'm just not on my personal profile. What? But now it wants me to go personal profile live, and I'm like going, I'm not a in the front of the camera person.
Hey, on that note, we are less than 100 away now. It is finally official. We are less than 100 away. So, on that note, you made the choice, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's been. You can't say it hasn't been rewarding. So that in itself should have inspired you to get outside your comfort zone just a little bit more here and there. Just keep going. You don't have to like go full bore, but every now and then. I'm not saying all the time. Get out there and try it. I mean, this time 2-3 years ago, I was not wearing stuff like this. Hell, anybody that's watched the past shows, I was in muscle shirts and funny little saying T-shirts and everything. Now, I'm like, hey, we need to make it a little more professional. So I always come in here, I have a tucked in shirt. Sometimes I'm sporting, Jack Brown shirt, but
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
I think I'll have to wear the pink outfit tomorrow for you.
You gonna wear the pink outfit tomorrow? Wear the pink outfit.
I can't wear it tomorrow. I have to wear it tomorrow because I can't wear it Wednesday. Wednesday we have a guest, and I won't. No, I'm not doing that.
Possibly more. Remember, he said he's gonna try. So we might be surprised.
Yeah.
So before the night's over, I will definitely be working in here tonight because I'd like to go ahead and try and. I'm going to see if I can do it, but hopefully next time people see this bar, it's going to be done. It's going to be lacquered. I need your happy ass to come over because we got to do the top of it, and from there on. So on that note, guys, we have definitely hit that time of the night. What's up?
We've already been on an hour and 17 minutes.
I'm staying up there.
And we're just now at our normal start time.
I know, that's the fun part. We were like this close to actually starting a full hour early.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, again, we need to do more of this right here, what we just did. That was awesome conversation. Right there. I mean, there was back and forth. There was, you gave your part. And right there is the example we've been trying to set. She said her part. I said my part. We didn't agree 100% on everything. But at the end, we agreed. Blue, pay attention. We agreed to disagree. One of us had an adult beverage, and we moved on. I'm going to have some fun with that. You opened a can of worms when you threw that one, buddy. Try and split hairs with me. I am Sherwin-Williams. I will mix the paint. Right around the first weekend in February, I'm going to plan a housewarming party. 100%, I'm bringing the bourbon. So, on that note, Arliss, we're all going to put our heads together because the original plan with the original couple that I wanted to come out and do the karaoke, it is not going to work.
2319 49ers with 2:54 left in the fourth quarter. I'm so glad I'm on this end of town because
So I was going to say, we're going to hear some screaming here soon. I'll tell you what, if Pittsburgh wins tomorrow night, Blue, this is where we blow up somebody's phone, but he'll probably turn it off. Because there's going to be 3 of us just beating down his door. If they lose tonight, yes, I already talked to them twice. Because they used to be able to pull double duty. They would send people off to one spot to another. I don't think they do that anymore. So pool table will be in by then. When we get an actual studio, you think we need to have a pool table on it?
Mm-mm. A bunch of drunk people with sticks and balls. Not the greatest scenario. With expensive equipment.
Pool table will be at one end, we'll be at another.
Okay.
Plus, room to set up. Trust me, guys. Like I said, there's a lot, and I hate that I can't tell these guys what's cooking on the stove right now. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. Man, drives me nuts. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Kat, do we do our final shots of the evening? Kat didn't even think about it. So, guys, yes, this was, want to thank everybody for tuning in to our Sunday night weekend Hangover. So if you're on TikTok, we are heading there next. Check us out tomorrow night for our Monday Night Bartender. We are going to be 100% on time because no, there's no TikTok tomorrow night because it could very well be the last game of the season for the Steelers, and I am not missing it, and I don't think Cooper wants to miss it. There's going to be some game time out here. We've done that before. So yes, join us tonight for our Monday Night Bartender, and I gotta start posting that now. Or else you might want to check out Wednesday night as well. We will have our first special guest in-house of the year, GB3, Gary Burke III himself, will be making his very first appearance at the bar. So yes, lots of good stuff coming up. We got our Thirsty Thursday thoughts and shots. I'm going to miss game tomorrow night. Why is he missing the game tomorrow night? Oh no!
Work. The game in Greenville.
Greenville?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, could be further away. You never know. So, here's to hoping, brother. Yes, we have our Thirsty Thursday thoughts and shots coming up, and then we round it all out with our Sunday night weekend hangover all over again. And I have a feeling next Sunday night is going to be definitely one for the books.
Fairview. I thought tomorrow was Greenville.
Arliss, I don't know. Are you excited as I am about next weekend, dude? This weekend, by the way, guys, if you are going to be in the Niles area, come check us out. We're going to be, can I say it on here? Oh, we're going to be streaming from there anyways.
Are we streaming the birthday?
Not the birthday. No, but we will be doing a show from this place. We will be at the Army Navy Garrison, their Union Garrison in Niles, Ohio, for a. Can I hit him really hard?
No, he's telling me he's going to be in Greenville on Thursday. He's at Fairview.
Okay. Yes, as I say, I know your birthday's earlier than everybody else's. Steve's like what? The day before mine? We are doing a conglomerate birthday party.
Arliss is in 2 days. Arliss is the 13th. Blues is the 15th. 6-9 is the 16th, and yours is the 19th.
Hence the reason we're doing a big conglomerate birthday party this Saturday. Few of them late, mine early. We're all another year older. Truly looking forward to it. Last year we had fun. This year is going to be epic. We're going to make it work somehow. Even if we're going to take just X. As always, guys, the beginning of the year is kind of that fun
Recovery.
Yeah, this is where, kind of got to buckle down. So for all of us to have January birthdays, like I said, we will make it work 100%. Guys, thanks for popping in. As I said, yes, ma'am. Cheers. All right, we're covered. Dude, I work till 3. I'm pretty sure we're good. We're gonna make it work. Last year was our learning curve. We'll make it work, guys. I promise. Arliss, help me out, buddy. But no, like I said, guys, I can beat this one to death. Honestly, you can't stay timid. You got to take those chances. You got to get out there. You got to try. You sit still, you go nowhere. It's like bounce the ball against the wall. You know, is it fun? Yeah, but it does nothing for you. So at the end of the day, guys, like I said, we've got a lot going. It's back. That tells me somebody just went. Oh, shoot, I forgot. There's a lot going on, and I promise you, I'm going to keep fighting for you, young lady, as well. I know you question it sometimes, but you still commit. You still do your part. We're not always going to agree. We're going to disagree a lot of times. We're still going to have more fun than we are not. So at the end of the day, guys, keep your head up. Stay positive. Keep pushing. Don't give up that fight. I'm that guy's glasses always half full. Do I have my downtimes? Yeah. But I use my friends and family. I made a deal. Actually, I made a promise to everybody. I think we all remember a specific night. I was not going to do that again. So, on mind, don't be afraid to talk. That's what we're here for. Everything, though, we say on this show is just our opinion. But then again, and I swear it talks dirty to me a lot of times. Guys, you have a good evening. We will see you later. If you're on TikTok, that's where we're heading next. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you for stopping in and listening to the Another Shot podcast. We shared some drinks, stories, and laughs. But it's time to say goodnight. Join us next time on Another Shot podcast.
If you're looking for a party, then man, have you found it? Now the shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Now the shot is gonna hit you with the mind overloaded. The bar is always open to no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensories twitching. Just remember, everything we say is just our opinion.